Well, this is just depressing. It is currently March 27th, which is in fact the last day of the Nintendo eShop on both 3DS and Wii U. So, earlier today, I took a look at the 3DS eShop one last time, but currently there's about 1 hour left for the Wii U eShop. So, I have to pay my respects, obviously. I'm gonna have to take a look at this thing one last time. And I already looked at the Wii U eShop numerous times. You know, one time for North America, another time for Europe, and another time for the Japanese eShop. You know, I've looked at this damn thing so many times. But it doesn't matter how many times I've looked at it because I only have one more shot. So I might as well take the fourth hit to my integrity. Let's do it. The Nintendo eShop on Wii U. Yep, one more time for this, all right? God damn it. Here we go. Oh my god, I have money! Yeah, so my Wii U eShop account is still connected to my Nintendo Switch wallet. So even though a couple months ago they disabled the ability to add funds to your account via credit card and then later Nintendo eShop gift cards, you can still add stuff by connecting your Nintendo account across the multiple systems. So my Wii U had that. My 3DS, though, the one that I have modded for capture, is not so lucky. And I know I can probably go through the account system and change that up, but I never felt like it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this thing is not at all different compared to when I last took a look at it, which was back in 2020, if I'm remembering correctly. That was when I last took a look at the North American Wii U eShop. And since then, I don't think they've really changed much. So one thing I'm actually really interested in is the Featured on Nintendo Switch section. I want to see if they've updated this much. And not similar to the Nintendo 3DS eShop, they're pretty much showing the exact same stuff they were showing on that thing. So this goes about as late as the Nintendo Direct Mini in 2018, though it did go further for the 3DS because the 3DS got more updates. But at this point, I mean, it was all over. There was nothing left. I am interested to see this like Amiibo. Let me see what they say about that. So yeah, this is pretty much just showing videos and also games that support Amiibo, and that's about it. You know, it is very shocking to me how many Nintendo games still come out that do support Amiibo. Like even Tears of the Kingdom, that has Amiibo releasing with it. But it doesn't really feel like there's really much of like a clear motive with selling Amiibo and adding Amiibo support to games. It just kind of seems like they kind of make Amiibo when they think Amiibo would be kind of cool. And that's about it. Some of the last big Wii U games that released here, Zelda Twilight Princess HD and Pokken Tournament. I didn't know Pokken Tournament had a demo. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so the Nintendo Switch eShop is really easy to harp on, but I will say a lot of design elements just make a lot more sense on that thing. The fact that the screenshots are kind of like the focal point of a product page, and then after the screenshots comes the description. It feels really backwards to me that the Wii U eShop has all this extra junk as like the number one thing you see here. And then the ratings. Oh man, I remember these that were just like, hey, you know, gamers or everyone, casual or intense. I think these are fun to look at. I think it's really fun to see what the general community for, you know, that game console thinks of a certain game and how what they think it classifies as under. Is it for everyone? Is it for gamers? Is it for casual? Is it for intense people? I think that's a lot of fun. I believe the Nintendo Switch eShop had ratings, but only for like a week or something. It was very strange, and I think it would do a lot of good there because there's so much shovelware. So it's like, yeah, it would be nice to get some star ratings. Smash Brothers for Wii U with all the DLC. New DLC is available. Where's the DLC bundle that's like, oh, it has everything? How much does that cost again? I think this one doesn't have like the extra stuff. So there was like some stages that weren't assigned to characters. There was like the Mario Maker stage and the pirate ship stage and that kind of thing. Those weren't linked to characters. I think this just includes all the DLC characters in the stages that come with them, and that's it. Whereas there's still like all the Mii Fighter costumes and all the extra stages. I believe there was a bundle. There was a special bundle that was like $100 in Japan for that kind of thing. But yeah, look at all that stuff. Remember when the Wii U screenshots of Smash Brothers all said that? That's always fun. It's just fun to look back at this kind of stuff. I have a lot of nostalgia for like the really basic stuff like that. But then there's also this header image, which I always found to be really awesome. It kind of combined elements of the box art with other characters to kind of make it so then, like, I believe that's literally like every character in the game, or at the very least every character that's available at the start of the game. But I can also see like they're combining elements of the 3DS box art there, like Marth and Little Mac. Like, that's from the 3DS box art for the game. And I would love if this header was just available by itself, but I don't think I've ever been able to find this exact header anywhere. It's really unfortunate. And we have Minecraft Wii U edition. That was like, I think Nintendo wanted that to be a big deal when it happened, but it was more so like kind of like a sympathy clap, you know? Like, oh, good for you, Nintendo. You finally got Minecraft. Because I remember, like, in late 2015, there was word going around that, like, oh, man, there's going to be a big game announcement for Wii U, like, next week or something. And it was like, oh, my God, what is it? What is it? And then it turned out to be Minecraft. And it's just like, yeah, that is a big deal, but it's Minecraft, you know? Everything outside of the Nintendo platforms got Minecraft up to this point. But what was cool about it was they announced, like, the Mario Mashup Pack and all of that. This was a cool announcement, but it was a bit deflating at the time, and also the fact that it really didn't take advantage of the gamepad. Like, this would have just been the perfect game for that kind of thing. Then we also have Shovel Knight. They're advertising it as Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, so that may be one of the latest things they updated the homepage with, because Shovel Knight originally just released as just that, Shovel Knight. But Treasure Trove is supposed to be like, oh, it's a bundle of all the Shovel Knight modes and single-player campaigns, because, you know, you have Shovel Knight, and then you have Plague of Shadows, and, you know, King of Cards, Spectre of Torment, and you could buy them all separately, I believe, now. But then Treasure Trove is them all in one, which, you know, hey, it works out. They actually increased the price of this thing overall. I remember it being more like $15, but now it's like $40. But to be fair, I mean, the amount of stuff they added to Shovel Knight, I think if any game deserved a price increase, it's definitely Shovel Knight. We have the Virtual Console lineup here, or the majority of the Virtual Console lineup. On my little trek through the Japanese Wii U eShop, I saw the MSX games they have available on the eShop. That is pretty nuts. There was a lot of cool stuff I saw by browsing the Wii U's Japanese eShop. Just like the different GBA games they had available there. Like, they had the Sonic Advance games. They also had like the Phoenix Wright games, because you know, those were on the GBA only in Japan. But they weren't even on the DS Virtual Console over here. Like, come on, man, that's f***ed up. Yeah, Virtual Console was kind of like one of the Wii U strong suits, but at the same time, it was also one of its major downsides, because the Virtual Console was definitely a bit mishandled on this system, I'd say. So I've mentioned this numerous times, but with this eShop closing, I might be able to just be free of mentioning this again. But yeah, NES games on Wii U, they look like dog ass. Horrible, absolutely. Like, they look so lame. They're so dark and blurry and bleh. However, they did have some cool releases here. For example, at the very top, we have Duck Hunt, which actually had, you know, used the Wii remote to aim the gun around, which is really cool. It was a great way to kind of, preserve this game and release it on modern platforms. Then we also had Earthbound Beginnings, which was a huge deal. This was always kind of something that's like, okay, yeah, very cool, but it's also like, you know, how much effort did this really take? Because Earthbound Beginnings was always meant to release for the NES. You know, this was Mother 1 in Japan, and that fully released, and it was meant to come out in North America, but it just didn't, probably because the NES was very old at that point and the Super Nintendo was already out. So they kind of thought, like, all right, what's the point of releasing this game like when nobody's gonna play it? And you know, it requires a battery save, and it's a really big game. So they just waited for like Earthbound on Super Nintendo to come out, for the series to come out over here. So this is pretty much like an old ROM. Like it was already fully translated. So it's not like, wow, like so much work went into this, but it's just they acted like so much work went into it with that kind of price. Damn, $7 compared to $5. Oof, man, Nintendo, you're getting a little greedy. Nah, but that was really cool to see. That was kind of something that's like, you know, come on, and we would love to see this come out, and it finally did, which is really cool. There was another release that was kind of along the same lines as that, but not nearly as like prolific, but still pretty neat. Versus Excite Bike, that was a Japanese-only Famicom Disk System game, and it came out here. It's pretty much Excite Bike, but you know, designed around multiplayer, which hey, that's really neat. But man, they had a lot of like weird releases, you know, not nearly as many as the Wii Virtual Console, but still more than enough, to be honest. But you had some classics, you know, you have Adventure Island, Double Dragon, you know, Pac-Man, River City Ransom, all kinds of games. Many of these games are on the Nintendo Switch, like NES Online app, but not nearly as many. I will say the NES Online app is cool because since it's based around a subscription, you know, like I have the ability to play a bunch of games that I would have never bought like flat out on the Wii U. I would not care to pick up Little Ninja Brothers on the Wii U by itself. But if it was available on the NES Online app, I'd give it a try. There's also like Tech Mobile, there's Dig Dug 2, Pac-Land, which that's another, like, that's a Famicom game that never came out over here. Definitely a solid lineup, but the quality of the emulation is just not the greatest. And it was not exciting to buy these games all over again. And even then, at a discount, it still wasn't that fun. You know, for games like Mario and Mario 3 here, they're at a discount because I already bought them on the Wii Shop channel, and the Wii U eShop detected that, and they offer it for $1 to upgrade to the Wii U version of the game. And it doesn't even like replace the Wii version of the game. You still own that Wii version of the game, but for only $1 for the NES games, you know, you can get the Wii U version of that Virtual Console game. It was like $1.50 for Super Nintendo, $2 for N64. But I always thought that was a really cool thing. It would be even cooler if it was free, but it's also like, hey, Nintendo's not stopping you from playing your Wii Virtual Console copy of Super Mario Brothers on the Wii U. You just have to enter Wii mode to do so. This is kind of just to give you that added benefit of like, hey, I can play it on the gamepad, I get save states, all that kind of junk. But it's still just like, it wasn't exciting to buy these again, you know. Back when these were releasing on the Wii, we never really had the opportunity to buy these games, download them all over again. And, you know, that's why it was so exciting. Even if we were getting a game like Donkey Kong Jr. Math, who cares? It's like, oh man, we've never been able to download this on a Nintendo system before. But with the Wii U, we were pretty used to it by that point. So it wasn't very exciting. Then we have Super Nintendo games, which worked really well on Wii U. These look great on the system. I think these are fantastic. And there's a great selection here. We have Harvest Moon, Mario RPG, Earthbound. That was the big deal when that showed up. Zelda: A Link to the Past. That actually took a while to show up on Wii U. I think that came out like early 2014. Like all the Kirby games. They also were doing sales on Wii U. They never really did sales on the Wii Shop channel. I remember there was like a buy two get one half off for like Kirby games or something along those lines. Yeah, just a lot of like really good stuff on the SNES Virtual Console on Wii U, including Pac-Man 2. Yeah, definitely more stuff than I think I remember on this thing. There was definitely all kinds of just random junk here. You know, the Mega Man X games, Contra, Cybernator. Like, they had a lot of obscure ones too. Once again, still like the Wii Virtual Console reigns supreme there. But there was definitely a lot of retro stuff on the Wii U eShop. And thankfully, Super Nintendo games looked and played great on here. Just like Game Boy Advance games, which this was kind of like the saving grace of the Wii U eShop. These were awesome to have here. They were a little weird at first. I still think it's really strange that Game Boy Advance was on here, but not original Game Boy or Game Boy Color. I guess they still wanted that to be exclusive to 3DS. But these are fantastic on Wii U. The emulation is so damn good. I especially love how you can flip through the manual on the gamepad while you're playing the game on the TV. That's an amazing touch. And the manuals are still like really good. Like, they're really great scans. Yeah, this was the way I played and beat Metroid Zero Mission for the first time, and I'm very thankful for that. This is one of the most incredible games of all time, incredibly fun. And yeah, I just love to see kind of the weirder Game Boy Advance games that got a re-release on the Wii U Virtual Console. Even just stuff like Car Battler Joe, Onimusha Tactics, Kuro Kuro Kuroin got its first North American release on the Wii U Virtual Console. And then you have the Mega Man Battle Network games, Contra Advance, which is pretty much just Contra 3, Konami Crazy Racers, yeah, why the hell not? The GBA version of Rayman 3, you bet your ass the GBA version of Rayman 3. The Game Boy Advance on Wii U, I felt like kind of revitalized Virtual Console for a bit there. And then a year later in 2015, they put out N64 and DS. I feel like these came out a little too late for me to personally care that much. N64 I feel like should have came out like a year prior. By 2015, I was kind of losing a lot of interest in playing a lot of these types of games on the Wii U, because it just kind of felt like, you know, like, hey, the Wii U's kind of like, it's kind of failing. Why invest more into this than I really should? Which is why I only really downloaded like a couple here and there. A lot of these I downloaded after the fact, like for video purposes. But in terms of like games that I bought for my own personal use back in the day in 2015, I believe it was like Ocarina of Time and Mario 64. And that might have been it for like the games that I personally bought on Wii U without, you know, needing to film a video about it. But yeah, these kind of suffer a similar problem to the NES games. They don't look and play that great on Wii U. It's fine. Like, playing NES games and playing N64 games on Wii U, it does the job. You can do it. Should you, though? I just feel like they don't look that great. They're not that fun to play in this context. It was cool to be able to play them on the gamepad. That was pretty neat, but at the same time, like, it's just like, they didn't feel that great. Whereas on Nintendo Switch, the N64 emulation on there, while it started off pretty problematic, I thought it always looked and felt pretty good, and now it's in a pretty good spot overall. So either way, you know, I think we're in a much better place than we were back in 2015. But then we also had DS games, which once again, I felt like these came out at a really weird time, and this was cool. It was really cool to be able to get these games on your TV for the first time officially ever. However, like, playing these games on Wii U always just kind of felt a little awkward. It always just kind of felt like there wasn't an ideal way to play these on a TV. It always, because, like, look, that's how you do that's kind of like the default aspect ratio for it, and that doesn't look right. Actually, all DS games would start looking like this, where they're all on like this whatever. This looks more like a Scott the Woz video. But you can do all kinds of things, like, you know, make it so then the bottom screen is on your gamepad, the top screen's on the TV. Maybe like the bottom screen is just like in the corner, and then the top screen, if it's not that necessary, is very small and in the top corner or something. But just having to like tweak it so much just kind of took a lot of the fun out of it. It turned DS Virtual Console. It just didn't really feel like these games were like made for Wii U. And I know that's a stupid thing to say, but at least with like the NES and SNES, Game Boy Advance, and N64 games. Those just kind of felt more like, oh, you were downloading the Wii U version of this game. Not necessarily like, oh, it was ported to Wii U, but more so like, hey, you know, you're playing this classic game on the Wii U. Whereas DS always felt like, you know, like, oh man, like, no shit, man, you're running this on an emulator. Like, those games just feel weird in any context that's not a dual screen setup. Not saying they can't work, but more so, it's just a little strange, not ideal. But hey, this is still really cool to get. And even then, some of these games are a bit cheaper, like $7. But yeah, not a horrible lineup here. They could have done more, but overall, pretty decent. It's mostly just Nintendo games. In fact, I think it's pretty much nothing but Nintendo released games. I don't think there's any third-party stuff here, which is pretty unfortunate. I think the Castlevania games would have been pretty cool. Resident Evil Deadly Silence, that would have been badass to see on the Wii U. Weirdly enough, Nintendogs isn't here, which is a bit strange, but overall, not a horrible lineup. But you know what is a horrible lineup, just based on the fact that exists? Why are TurboGrafx 16 games here? This has always been super strange to me. These all released like in 2016, 2017, and it wasn't really announced. They just kind of popped up. It was just like, oh man, Virtual Console, TurboGrafx 16 games. And then they all released in like 2017 when nobody was paying attention to the Wii U eShop anymore. Look, there were 2 ratings on China Warrior, which I think implies maybe like 6 people bought it. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I don't know why they waited so long to do this, but it's just kind of like a wacky little like extra thing about the Wii U eShop. Like, yeah, they had TurboGrafx 16 games on it, and a decent amount too. I don't know, it's really weird to me that that system got on here, and it was barely ever announced. I don't even think Nintendo even acknowledged the fact that those games were coming to Wii U. But we didn't get like Sega Master System, Genesis, any of the stuff from the Wii, like Commodore 64 or Virtual Console Arcade. None of that. It was just like, yeah, TurboGrafx at the tail end of the system's life. It's pretty nuts. The last thing is Wii, which is not labeled as Virtual Console, but also kind of labeled as Virtual Console at the same time. It's really weird because they put it all right next to those systems, just kind of like, oh yeah, the Virtual Console systems. But as you can see, there's no Virtual Console label. As we can also see, Capcom is doing some $3 fire sales. I actually got Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition, mainly because I kind of want to try this game, and I haven't yet. I want to try it with the gamepad, because something you can do when you download Wii retail games off the eShop is you can use the gamepad to control games that use the classic controller, which is pretty nuts. And it's also pretty nuts that I haven't tried that yet. I think Xenoblade Chronicles, that supports the classic controller. You know, Resident Evil 4 does. Not a ton of releases here do, mainly because Nintendo's games didn't generally support the classic controller. They're pretty much always like, we are shoving up motion controls down your throat. But yeah, that's a really cool feature, and this was nice to have. It was a bit weird because what this is pretty much just a digital version of a Wii disc. When you buy this on Wii U and it installs on your system, you click on it on Wii U and it brings you into Wii mode, and then you can play the game through that means, and that's it. And it's not like a Wii U version of that game. It's not like any of that. It's pretty much just, it's pretty much like you hacked a Wii and you were loading up a game off of a hard drive. But I think having the option to get Wii games downloadable is a really nice feature to have. I think it's something that, hey, you know, like, you don't have to put all this work into, you know, re-releasing a game and modernizing it and adding all these Wii U features. Like, I think it was just a nice feature to be able to do that if you wanted to, because many of those games were priced significantly less than the going rates of them physically, which, you know, like, I think is a fantastic option to have. But yeah, then we go up here and it's pretty much just all the categories. Stuff like, oh, you want Mario games? How about Pokemon games? So, Lego games? It's pretty much all just a little like, hey, you know, flavor of the month. What are you feeling today? Something for you? Yeah, recommended for you. What is it? What is it? All right, a game I already own. A game I already own. A game I already own. Yeah, I wonder if everybody's recommended for you section is the same. I think I've mentioned this before, but yeah, I always find it weird how Mario Kart 8's icon is different on the eShop than it is, you know, when you actually put the, you know, download the game and whatnot. Same goes for, I believe Splatoon's is different. Smash Brothers is different. Yeah, just kind of interesting there. Oh man, I gotta check out the new releases. I gotta see what's going on. Yikes. All right, I do own that game. That's probably, I believe that is the last physical Wii U game to release. It's Shakedown Hawaii, which that released, and I think I own 2 copies of it because it was like pretty cheap. It was like 25 bucks. So I got 2 copies. There's one that's like a standard release and the other that's like a special edition, and all that's different about it is like it comes in like a slipcase. But yeah, pretty much nothing crazy going on here. The Wii U just ended up getting like a ton of you know, random little indie games later on in its life because I think Nintendo just released their standards from the leash. They were just like, yeah, you do whatever the hell you want. We want games on our system. And I think it worked out for them because it kind of got a lot of developers developing for Nintendo systems regardless, even if it was the Wii U. Who cares? I want to check out this news section. Well, this is fucking miserable. Let me check out the charts. Let me see what the latest and greatest is. Oh man, all right. Spirit Tracks is number 1. That's pretty interesting. You can kind of see like I guess a lot of this is kind of like, oh, because this isn't really available elsewhere. So you know that's kind of the only official way to play Spirit Tracks right now. Pushmo World. It seems like everybody's getting their Pushmo fix in before the entire series goes offline. That's a damn shame. I really hope eventually they do something like a Pushmo collection or just like a new Pushmo or something, because it's such a lovely little series that I think really deserves to live on the Nintendo Switch or any future Nintendo platform. I just hope they do that. I feel like it would be well worth the investment. Even if there's no future for the series, I feel like there's such easy little games to pick up and play that I think you can probably make your return on investment by just, you know, even releasing just the first game or just re-releasing Pushmo World since it's already in HD. But DuckTales Remastered is only 3 bones. Apparently, a lot of people got into like this giant craze to get like the physical copy once this game got delisted. I've always owned the physical copy. That came out like a couple months after this game released. But yeah, it just shows like, I don't know. It is something where I don't sweat it much these days. It is something where like, yeah, I prefer owning the game, but I don't really have huge like standards that I abide to every single time. If a game is releasing and I am just super ready for it, like I need to play it at midnight, I'll download it digitally. Yeah, a lot of these. Apparently Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker are pretty damn pricey these days. I did not know that until I heard and I saw online, like, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, people are really snatching those up before the only copies available are going to be, you know, physically. And there's Dr. Luigi, you know, everybody's, you know, panicking. Can't have a world without Dr. Luigi. Metroid Prime Trilogy, that was an insane deal back then. You know, 20 bucks for that. It was mainly because like Prime Trilogy on Wii was originally like this really like hard to find expensive game on the system. Now I think it's pretty like it's fairly easy to come by. I mean, you're still gonna pay a bit for it, but you can kind of get it pretty easily. But yeah, for 20 bucks, like that definitely helps to keep prices a little down, because then there's another means of playing the game. There's another means of purchasing it. When you take this away, who knows how much Duck Hunt's going for? You know what? Oh, man. Should I get the DLC on Wii U? Because that is pretty special. because it's just like, where's the DLC? All right, you can get a Nintendo Switch shirt in this game. Like I just feel like I'm kind of like, man, like I might have to do that. I mean, I got to be smarter with that kind of stuff, man. Like, am I really gonna do anything with that? Am I really gonna use it? Yep. But yeah, pretty much everything else here is pretty much how I remember it. They have not really updated the Nintendo eShop on this system in years, frankly. I mean, like any little update, and any update has been incredibly minor. And I can't blame them. I mean, like what the hell is there to update your Nintendo eShop on? I believe they might have like updated the music randomly though. Like I think sometime late in the Wii U like game, like after the Switch released, they did change the music of the eShop, which is commendable. That's one thing we're gonna miss out on, man. Like, no more music. And the thing is, like, the Wii Shop channel's music may be iconic. However, the Wii U eShop had dozens of tracks. I thought it was really cool when, like, a big game would release. They would sometimes alter the music to play a song from that game. Like, I think Mario Kart 8 gave the eShop different music. I think. But I know Smash Brothers did, and I know the Twilight Princess shop theme was the music when Twilight Princess HD released. And overall, the look of this shop is so colorful, so vibrant, so nice, and it's so smooth to just scroll. You don't get that on Switch. I will say it's probably just as slow as the Switch, at least when it comes to like selecting a category or a game or something. It takes about that amount of time on Switch. But at the very least, like buying a game and downloading it's way quicker on Switch. But at least scrolling like this, like, man, this is a damn dream, man. But yeah, I think the last thing I really need to check out here is I want to go to my menu. I want to just take a peek at the my wish list, the games that I never had a chance to pick up. Let me see. Okay, well that's a goddamn lie. Sports Ball. Well, I own that now. Advance Wars. I don't think I have that on GBA. Man, a couple of these GBA games I just never picked up. I picked up these guys though. That eShop episode of Scout the Woz really really forced me to pick up some games that I've been looking for a while. But yeah, some of these NES games and Super Nintendo games, like I did want back in the day, but they were never really necessities. They were always just kind of like, maybe someday. So currently, while I'm recording this, it's about 20 minutes until pretty much they said that, hey, like this is it, like get in all your purchases, and I made my decision. But this is pretty much my last time checking out this eShop in the state that it's in. And I took a peek at the 3DS one as well. And I'm going to say a similar thing to what I said during the 3DS eShop look, is that, man, this is unfortunate, but I do have pretty much all the games that I really need. So it is kind of like a feeling of like, okay, well, I probably wouldn't go back on the eShop. You know, how many of us were really going to buy stuff on it if they were not announcing that it was going down? But at the same time, you know, like we shouldn't really have to feel that kind of pressure to do so. However, it does show that like none of us really buying anything on it anyway, so it's kind of like, you know, it's really lame that, you know, this is kind of the reality we live in with game preservation. It is something where with the current way things are set up and how things run, how businesses are run, how these games are offered to us, it doesn't make sense to keep them up forever. However, you know, to kind of stop this from going on, I feel like we kind of need to reevaluate. And when I say we, more so these game companies, need to reevaluate how they're offering these kind of products to customers, you know? This is art. This is modern art. And it's kind of like if every single artist who was, you know, doing stuff back then, just pretty much like after a couple years of people being able to admire their art, they were just like, all right, we're done, and they just kind of take it away. They just burn it, and they're just like, maybe I had a copy laying around somewhere, and I'll reintroduce it later. But for the meantime, sorry. So I hope eventually we kind of get to a point where these companies realize that, like, hey, this isn't just something you should take away. You can if you want to, but like in the grand scheme of things, you should reevaluate how you're offering these products, so then you don't have to take them away, or even if you do take them away, there are other means to experience these types of things. I'm saluting the Nintendo eShop on Wii U. After this, I'm going to cry and puke and cry. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to enjoy my final purchase on the Wii U eShop.